Most bosses are forgettable. You fight them, you win, and you move on. The Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor changes that. It's a masterclass in boss design. Now, this isn't a video game channel, but tabletop and video games are creative endeavors. They're about stories, choices, and consequences. So, what Shadow of Mordor does well can absolutely be appreciated and applied at the table. Quick explanation for anyone who hasn't played. Shadow of Mordor generates enemy captains with unique names, personalities, strengths, and weaknesses. When you fight them, they remember how you beat them, if you beat them, and even if you ran away. Because of that, they often come back scarred, stronger, and changed. Some of them mock you, others fear you, and some swear revenge. Over time, you don't just fight enemies anymore, you build rivalries. You start recognizing voices, catchphrases, and fighting styles. The system takes a generic enemy you faced 100 times and turns them into something personal. Someone memorable, someone you're actually excited and maybe even a little nervous to meet again. And just to clarify, the system didn't stop with Shadow of Mordor. The sequel, Middle Earth Shadow of War, takes the same Nemesis framework and pushes it even further. With more captains, more betrayals, fortresses, and internal power struggles among the enemies themselves. They don't just remember you anymore, they remember each other. They climb ranks, backstab rivals, and form alliances. It's the same idea, just bigger, deeper, and messier. And honestly, that proves the point. The system wasn't a gimmick, it was strong enough to build an entire game around. In the age of Reddit, guides, and YouTube, players often min max everything they can. And can you blame them? It feels great to be powerful, to optimize, and to break systems. As a designer, you have to allow that. No one wants a perfectly balanced game. If everything is always fair, there's nothing meaningful to manipulate or experiment with. When players become overpowered or overly specialized, bosses ought to have special abilities too, just as they do in Shadow of Mordor. Then, expectations can meaningfully be subverted. Is the party's ranger unstoppable? This boss can't be fought at a range. Is the fire mage too overpowered? The boss is immune to fire, and the battlefield is wet too. Did they kill the boss too easily? Perhaps he explodes on death, curses his slayer, or gets back up. Suddenly, their perfect build isn't so perfect anymore. And that's exciting. Good boss design isn't just bigger numbers, it's not more health or harder hits. It's forcing adaptation. Tabletop needs this. Not to punish its players, but to wake them up. One or two unique traits is enough to get players thinking again, planning again, and adapting again. And if you also add interactable objects, timers, or environmental hazards, you're creating something truly memorable. You didn't nerf the players and you didn't arbitrarily raise the difficulty. The players know what that feels like. Instead, you challenge them creatively. They'll remember that. Now, here's the thing. Abilities are the meat of a boss fight, but personality, that's the spice. It's what turns the system into an incredible story. In Shadow of Mordor, the bosses don't shout generic villain lines, they roast you. You'll hear stuff like, "Oh, good, it's you. I was getting bored." Or, "There are 206 bones in the human body, and I'm going to break every single one of yours." They remember how you fight. They mock your favorite moves. If you run, they'll call you a coward. If you die, they won't let you forget it. They have accents, speech quirks, weird laughs, and over the top confidence. Yet it works because suddenly you remember their names, you recognize their voices, you actually feel something, whether it be anger, amusement, or dread. Either way, you care. This is something tabletop can steal immediately. A voice does more than a stat block ever will. Give your boss a catchphrase, a repeated insult, or one defining personality trait. Maybe they're cowardly, maybe fanatical, maybe painfully overconfident. But whatever it is, make it consistent. And this isn't voice acting, it's just picking a theme and going with it. You don't need a perfect accent, and you don't need acting lessons. Just one prominent trait that shows up every time they speak. That's what makes them feel real. In Shadow of Mordor, the bosses don't simply get slaughtered all the time. Sometimes they team up on you. They'll fight and lose. Sometimes they run or ambush the players. And sometimes they come back, remembering exactly what happened to them last time. You don't just defeat them and forget about them. When they aren't killed, they come back changed. This is where you may ask, Yeah, but how can a boss come back to life in a tabletop game? The short answer is it doesn't always have to happen that way. But when it does, it's powerful. I once had a minor orc boss early in a campaign that the party made quick work of. If I had left it at that, no one would have remembered him. He would have just been another body in a pile of bodies. But I didn't leave it at that. He came back with scars stitched together, missing an eye, and furious. He remembered who killed him, how they laughed, and how it happened. And he adapted, with counters to their favorite tactics and a new set of skills to follow. It didn't hurt that he started showing up unexpectedly too. Suddenly, he wasn't just another random character, it was personal. So when they killed him again, they made sure he was dead, dead. No doubt and no mercy. Or so they thought. Later, he came back again, this time as an undead, still hunting them and still remembering. And after that, he came back again in a ghostly form. From there, he perished in a sense. His family remembered him, though, and so did his warband. They sabotaged, they spread rumors, and they hired mercenaries. The consequences of that one boss just kept rippling outward. And when he was alive, every time the players encountered him, it brought a smile to their face as they remembered old memories and created new ones that were unique. You don't need to copy that exact idea. That's not the point. The point is, bosses ought to be personable, provide unique combat, and don't always need to end in a simple slaughter. Most bosses are fought, killed, and forgotten, but these kinds of bosses will be remembered. And if you want more tabletop storytelling, click the video on screen now. Until next time, may God bless your fellowship, your stories, and your play.